All right, guys, now we're going to move on to your unit rate notes. You previously had learned all about ratios, and this time we're going to learn about unit rates. So let's go over the definition and we can go ahead and get started. So the definition of a unit rate is that it is a ratio, but it compares two different units. So you've been working with ratios that have the same unit. Unit rate is different units. So for example, this would be like Jesse traveled 80 miles in 2 hours. That's considered a unit rate. Okay, unit rates, however, tell us the rate in lowest terms or simplest form. And then that is going to be for the amount that is over or for 1. Okay, the 1 always goes on the bottom of the rate, and it's always written in fraction form. Unit rates can also be called, which you'll find out later, the constant of proportionality. You guys will learn that in topic 2. And then in 8th grade, they call it slope. So both of these things will be identified in your future, and you guys will hear those terms again. I just want to make sure that you are aware of those terms. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and scroll down. It says here that there are a couple different important vocabulary words that help you identify unit rate. So the very first one is per, which you probably hear all the time. How many miles per hour are you going? You'll hear each, and you'll hear every. Okay, now I'll go over the steps on how to solve a unit rate. First, you need to find out what it is that you're turning into a 1. So what is it that you want to find out 1 of? All right, you're going to set up that rate in a fraction form so that the number you're turning into 1 always goes on the bottom. Okay. You'll then ask yourself, what do I have to multiply or divide by to turn that number into a 1? Okay, follow through solving with step 2 so that you have a 1 on the bottom, and do the same thing to the top of the fraction. And then last but not least, you actually have to label both units now because we're talking about unit rates. In a table or a graph, we always want our x value to be 1. So if you have a graph, this is your y and this is your x, you're always looking for that value of 1, which will be really close to the corner there. In a table, if you have x and y, we're always looking for it to have a value of 1 here. So that's all that we'll be looking for in this lesson. Okay, in order to do that, let's go ahead and just practice these 2 problems, and this is what we call unit price. So you're trying to figure out the price of just one of these things. All right, it says Tyler makes $93 in 12 hours. How much does he make per hour? So per hour is your indicator. That's that important vocabulary word. That means they want 1 hour. So hour has to be listed on bottom. So that being said, you have $93 over 12 hours. Okay. Remember, whenever it's set up as a fraction, you can think of it as a division problem. So we're going to go ahead and divide these 2 numbers. So $93, I'm going to put my decimal in there too, divided by 12 hours so that we can figure out how much it will be for 1 hour. So I need to figure out how many times 12 can go into 9. Well, it can't. So I'll figure out how many times 12 can go into 93, which is 7. 7 times 12 gives you, well, it's 14, 7, 84. So when we subtract, we get a value of 9. Bring up my decimal and then bring down my 0. 12 can go into 97 times again, which we already know is 84. I'm going to subtract that and get a value of 6 left over. And I'm bring down my last 0. So then I know that 12 can go into 65 times, which is exactly 60. So I know that Tyler will make $7.75 in 1 hour. Okay, because in order to get from 12 hours to 1 hour, I had to divide by 12. And same thing here. Since I divided by 12 to get it to 1 hour, I'm going to divide by 12 for the 93 to figure out how much money he makes. All right, and then the last one here, it says Reggie bought a 10-pack of Sharpies for $8.99. How much does each Sharpie cost? When we set this up, they want each Sharpie. So that means they want the Sharpies on bottom because that's how much they want for one of them. But I know that it's $8.99 for 10 of them. So I'm going to put $8.99 on top and a 10 pack is on bottom. But I want to figure out how much it is for one pack. Okay, so I know to get from 10 to 1, I have to divide by 10. So I will divide by 10 on the top also, and that's where my long division is going to come into play. So $8.99 divided by 10. It cannot go into 8, so I put a 0 and bring up my decimal, but it can go into 89 8 times, which is 80. Minus that is 9. Bring down my 9. It can go into this 9 times, which is 90. Minus that is 9. I can add another 0 here and bring it down. It goes into it 9 times again to give you exactly 90. But we're talking about money here, so I actually have to round it to the nearest cent. So this is where I'm going to take my 0.899. My nearest cent is my first 9, so this 9 tells my cent 9 to bump up. So I'm actually going to round it for you and say that it is 90 cents for one pack, just like it was $7.75 for 1 hour. Okay, and that is your practice for today on your notes, and then we will go ahead and do stations next.